You're listening to the Red Hot Gamers Podcast at www.redhotgamers.co.uk. Okay, and good evening everyone, welcome to the Red Hot Gamers Podcast, episode 3. Tonight my guests are the Reverend, and we have Morel. Good evening guys, welcome to the show. Right, so shall we crack on? The Evolve giveaway, it is the time. So Morel, you're going to do us the honours if you could. You're going to pick us a winner. If you could pick a number anywhere between 1 and 124.
124?
128.
Yes. No. Dickhead.
37.
37, marvellous. Right. Is that not the most picked number when
I think it is, or 73 as well. Yeah.
Right, let's just have a look through the list. 37 is the Dubious Penguin. Congratulations.
Dubious Penguin, he's from Altis Life.
Penguin. We had a lot of entries from the Altis Life forum. We had a lot of entries from the Altis Life forum. Great feedback altogether, to be quite honest. So, congratulations, Dubious. You'll be getting an email from me with that code. And that leads us nicely on to February's giveaway. Those of you that are already signed up for the members list, the mailing list rather, you get automatic entry, obviously, as you're already in there. For those of you that aren't, sign up, and thanks to the lovely developers of 7 Days to Die, the Fun Pimps, we have a free version of 7 Days to Die to give away. So make sure you're on that mailing list by the end of February to be with a chance of winning.
What an awesome company name. I wish that I worked for a company called
Not
Fun
only
Pimps.
an awesome company name, what an awesome company. I mean, not only do they make great games, they're really great people as well.
Suck up. Oh, sorry.
To be fair, though, that's probably been one of my favourite games in recent months.
Oh, yeah.
But big time.
It definitely stands out for me. It definitely does. It took what I liked about a lot of games and just mashed it together.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it well. I like the fact that the updates are thick and fast.
Yes.
And it's almost unrecognisable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's so much better.
What we mentioned last week, I think it was me and you, Rev, talking about it, was just the fact that I started playing it when it was on, when it first got released, played it for a while, I enjoyed it, and then stopped for a little bit, but that small gap, I mean, we're only talking probably a month or two that I wasn't playing it, and then I went back to it. So much has improved.
Yeah,
it's unreal. I mean, normally early access, I would be well, as we found out with H1Z1, be wary of. But this one it's a cracker.
Well, also it's in a field, a genre that's, to be honest, is quite overpopulated in my opinion. But I actually, and I'm going to put it out there, I prefer it to Minecraft. I actually think it's better, personally, even now. So what it's going to be like when it's completely finished, who knows?
Yeah. It's going to be great. Rev, do you want to run us through what you've been doing the past week?
Oh, well, I fed my cat, and I did, yeah. Playing wise, I don't know. Mainly, I've been playing Arma 3 Epoch, bit of base building, trolling a lot of French people. Going on French servers, got banned from a couple. That was fun.
How do you get banned from a French server? Don't they just make you admin?
Oh, dude.
I was going to say, surely they just surrender the server to you and go somewhere else.
That was the theory.
Okay, everybody, we are going to different server now.
What
French?
Without getting too controversial, they actually just put on God mode and then kick you, as it turned out. But yeah, apparently flying choppers into admin bases, not cool. So yeah, that's a great way to get yourself banned, which is always good. The other one is I've got to say it, and I know we're coming to it later. Dying Light. That's pretty much dominated my entire weekend.
I didn't realise you'd actually been playing it.
I've been playing offline, so I don't get hassled to do admin-y stuff. I have to turn myself off on Steam so that the Altis Life crew don't ask me any questions about forum tags or any of that sort of thing. So most of the time I've been offline. But yeah, I'll obviously we're going to cover that a bit more in depth later. But to be fair, they're the two biggies from this last week.
Yeah, Morel, what you been up to?
Okay, first of all, that was a great impression of a Canadian French person because they are much angrier and bitter than like Paris French. I feel like I just need to add that because you're from England, so your French people are all baguettes, where ours are like, let's fry some potatoes, put gravy and cheese on them. Completely different class of French people.
Sounds it.
But this week I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft. I'll admit it. I broke down the... every time they release an expansion pack, I always get dragged back into it, and Warlords of Draenor was out, got 10 days free, and I'm really enjoying it. I'll probably be sticking around with that. Other than that, I was playing that... Oh, what's that other game? I wish I had my phone right here. The one we're talking about later, Evolve Hunter, or whatever.
Yeah.
The one by 2K. And World of Tanks, which
Evolve
hopefully I'll be
Hunter's
live streaming.
Quest.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just want to plug that early on in case, people don't listen until the end. I don't think that ever happens. Everyone finishes the podcast, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Actually, I think it was like 80-odd%, wasn't it?
The first one was, yes.
Shockingly. Shocking.
The second one wasn't quite as high, but it's still very impressive. Sort of 50,
it was still like 70, I think.
50, 60, I think it was on last time I checked. Which
pretty good.
That's pretty good. I mean, as I was saying to you, Morale, I don't fully trust YouTube's
the thing is, when you look at it, that also counts the guy who went in and you were like, welcome, and he's like, nah. So it takes the say 80 out of 100 people that watched it to the end, then it's like this one guy watched 5 seconds, and it's like, everyone almost finished.
Yeah, but this week we got Morel.
See, a percentage of how many people watched. If it broke down your YouTube views.
This is a world exclusive, I think, isn't it, Morel?
What is?
Of you
seeing Morel
being live.
Yes. Up until now, it's only ever been my voice in anything.
I think the female viewer/listener demographic is going to be a lot higher now that you're with us, sir.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm not being funny. Look at the entrance that we got for that competition. We've got quite a high base anyway.
There was a lot of ladies in that competition, which either says that ladies love a freebie, or
no comment.
Just to get closer to Morel.
Well,
I think.
Well, what's our website again? I should know that off the top of my head. The
really?
RHG website.
It's redhotgamers.co.uk.
I have it bookmarked. I don't look at the URL. I'm
what are you drinking in that cigarette, son?
Isn't it?
This is John Player's finest Canadian tobacco. Don't smoke, kids. This, however, is Kraken, which is a 45% dark spiced rum, and it's wonderful.
On a Monday, kids. A Monday.
A Monday at 4 in the afternoon.
Wow, that's rock and roll.
There is reason to celebrate. As we was talking a minute ago, the Patriots won the Super Bowl last night, and it's also the Barclays Premier League's transfer deadline day, which is always an exciting time, although absolutely nothing has happened to talk of so far. But there's still about 2 hours left, so something could happen.
See, I only like fake sports, so...
Yeah, me too.
Speaking
I was
about
really
websites, into Football Manager for a while.
Speaking of websites, I just want to give a big shout out to the idiot that owns redhotgamers.com and is doing absolutely nothing with it, but wants a ridiculous amount of money to sell it. So yeah, thanks, mate.
Okay.
$10,000 he wanted for that domain. I contacted him because I saw that he registered it in 2003, and there is nothing on there at all. It's just blank.
It's only worth the gross amount that it's bringing in. Mm-hmm. But either way, that's probably a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
Let's keep the games moving.
Nice chap. He's very diplomatic, shall we say?
Lovely fella.
So, what have I been playing this week? Well, to be honest, I've been starting a lot of my games again because after the issues that I had with my computer getting wiped a week or so ago, obviously all my saves have gone. Which
you don't have cloud-based saves?
I do not. I'm sorry.
Game Booster has a save sync. You just click a button and it syncs all your saves to their server.
It's weird. Some of my Steam games have got saves left and some of them haven't. Unfortunately, the ones that haven't are the ones like Football Manager, where I've put in hundreds of hours, and yeah, it's all just evaporated.
Are you sure these are Steam games?
Yes, yeah, they are Steam games.
I should hope they are, sir. I lost a hard drive. All of my legitimate games were backed up, no problems at all. Didn't have any problems whatsoever.
Well, the issue is...
Just contact the devs, get a free copy or something.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, shout out again to the Fun Pimps. Great guys.
Awesome name. Very
Indeed.
tempting.
Other than that, it's been Dying Light for me. So should we jump into it? Rev,
Absolutely.
What's your first thoughts, my friend?
Mine?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got to say there's some pluses and minuses here.
Indeed.
But the pluses far exceed the minuses for me.
I'm glad. I would just like to point out that we have not talked about this until this point, so
No.
I have no idea what his opinion is going to be.
No, well, personally, I found a couple of issues. Those being, one, I've got a mission that I can't actually access. It's like an exclamation that they will not frickin' talk to me. So that's cool. It's just a side mission, no biggie. The other issue really is some of the lockups. I'm getting freezing,
Yes.
and it's mainly on the cutscenes, and occasionally in game it will be like with those big bloaters that explode or fire the goo at you.
Yeah.
It seems to be those that kill it. And now I know I've not got the latest graphics card. It's a GTX 760, but it handles all of the games amply. And I've played around with the settings. I watched Total Biscuit's video for playing around with the settings. Basically, it's your draw distance, view distance that's the real clincher. Everything else is almost ineffective.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people have been having those issues.
Yeah.
I've been having those issues as well.
I
mate.
googled it, and the devs are working on it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's cool. You know,
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't render it unplayable. It just is a bit of a pain in
It's
the butt.
just annoying, especially like the ones you're saying. The special unit zombies. They're pretty generic. You've got like the big dude with the huge hammer. You've got the exploding dude, and you've got the dude who spits goo at you.
Yeah.
The most annoying one that I found out of that is the spitting dude, because a lot of the time you don't actually see him, but the frame rate drops when the goo hits you.
And it's not just a drop. It's like literally it's on its
for about,
ass. I had
3 or
one
4
yesterday
seconds.
that was like 10 seconds.
Fuck.
And I'm like, that's pretty bad. And then I got a biter on me when it actually came out. So I was like,
you're trying to, because obviously the game is actually still running as such when it's frozen, so you can still be trying to get away, but you can't actually see what you're doing. So you're just trying to guess. But
I'm just like back, jump back. But to be fair, those are the two big issues I've got with it. Other than that, I love it. I've got to be honest. I love Dead Island anyway, and it's so close to Dead Island it's unreal. But I would say it's sort of somewhere between Dead Island meets Far Cry 3 or 4. And there's so many elements that they got right that I'm absolutely loving it. And I don't normally notice this, but have you noticed that the score's quite good? Like in terms,
yes, actually I have. There's a bit where it's just really come up when I've been travelling across the city. I've not really been in a fight or anything, but there's kind of just like a man like wailing, if you know, like going that sort of thing.
Not seen that. Yeah.
That's quite good. I mean, I think they used quite a similar thing on one of the episodes or a couple of episodes of The Walking Dead, like when it's quite gentle, like towards the end of an episode where it's kind of like everyone's reflecting on all the shit that's been happening and whatever. It's quite atmospheric. But yeah, the music is really good.
It's rare that I actually notice sound effects or music in game, but I was playing there's one level where you're in a school and you got to clear the school out.
Oh yes.
And the actual sounds and everything, it was genuinely creepy, and I was like, this is awesome. And it got kind of mysterious, weird sort of music, and it was all quite sinister, and I was like, they really have got this right. And I think they've done such a good job at getting the core elements right that I'm willing to overlook like the lag issues and things like that, and the story as well. I think the story, the progressions, I don't know how far through it, I don't want to give any spoilers either, obviously, but I like the character progression as you go through.
Now, I personally know nothing about Dying Light. It's popped up in my Steam suggested list. It's like, hey, you'd probably like this based on all the crappy games you own. But I saw an ad for it on TV, and I didn't bother looking into it because I was like, I have no money in my budget for games this week. I'll do the free one and talk about that on the podcast. But explain to me what it is. Because you're saying like, oh, it's kind of like Dead Island and Far Cry. It's single player,
pretty
multiplayer.
It's pretty much Dead Island, right? Okay, so it's single player as such,
You can do multiplayer,
but you can open the game up. Right, there's two different sort of options. You can open the game up so that during the night or whatever, other players can join your game as a zombie, as one of the special zombies, and try and take you down. Right?
Oh, that would be fun.
That kind of brings up a scenario. It's annoyed me more than anything, to be honest, but I'll get to that in a second. And then there's like a Left 4 Dead sort of multiplayer game where you have 4 humans and you have one player playing as like one of these uber zombies, and the humans have to destroy the hives before the zombie kills them all, I'm guessing.
Potentially, but I've been playing the solo campaign, and I'm absolutely loving it for that. I've not even tried multiplayer. I figured I'll play my way through it, get my little completion whore head on, and go and find everything.
I opened my game up, my single player game, so it was available for anybody to enter, and I was halfway through doing a mission or whatever in the city, and it got to nighttime, and nighttime is damn scary. I mean, it is pitch black, and you've just got a little circle in front of you where your torch is, if you dare even have it on. And I managed to get into a safe zone, and I was going to go to sleep until the morning, because you can do that. It doesn't force you. That's what I like as well. It doesn't force you to do stuff at night and whatever if you don't want to. But somebody joined in my game, and then it opens up a mini game as such. It's still exactly the same, but again, it spawns some hives that you have to kill without the zombie player killing you. And there's no way you can back out of it, but it's just annoying. I found more than anything.
It's kind of I've not even tried that yet. I'll be honest, but in a nutshell, it's zombie survival horror in a sandbox sort of environment.
It is basically Dead Island how they should have made it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you've not played Dead Island, then it's got like there's cool things, like it's got like a leveling up system as well. As you play through, you'll unlock new things. I loved like the drop kick, by the way.
The drop kick is amazing.
The drop kick's awesome. You just, when you're sprinting, you can just go up and do like a full on drop kick, smash people in the face, zombies and NPCs and stuff. And it looks awesome, and you genuinely get a kick out of it.
Yeah, you do.
But there's a lot of things that they got right, like if you're on a rooftop and you're getting attacked by zombies, you just grab them and throw them straight off the rooftop, and like it's just cool, man. Like they've got it right in so many ways.
I haven't actually unlocked the throwing skill yet. I mean, obviously I've got well past it on the tree. I've just spent my points on other things.
It's amazing.
Yeah, one of my fun things to do is to like drop kick them if they are on the roof, like you say. Drop kick them so they fall over, and then just stick your boot to them until they fall off the edge of the roof.
Oh yeah, the head stomp's pretty nasty.
Oh yeah.
But
that was a big part of Left 4 Dead.
It was.
Dead
It was
Island,
if he was playing the big rapper guy. That was his like main sort of finishing move.
Sam B.
That was the one. Yeah. But if the grab, that's way better than you think. You know, all the spike traps that you don't even notice them that much until you've got the grapple. And when you got spikes on walls and stuff, you'll have like 5 or 6 zombies coming towards you, and I'm just like, they come running, I'm just like, grab, chuck, grab, chuck, and it's just like I ended up with like all these bloody zombies like impaled behind me, and I'm just like, this is cool. I can't fault that. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's other things as well, like in Dead Island, you could modify your weapons.
Yeah.
So like you could like electrify axes and stuff like that, so they had more damage. And I don't know if it was the same in Dead Island. Did Dead Island have weather? I can't remember, to be quite honest with you. But this has, hasn't it? It's
noticeably. This makes a big difference.
It does. So if you've got like an electrified weapon and it's raining, it'll do a ton more damage, and like the zombies will be there fucking on the floor. You know, it's just there's little things like that.
I mean, you can craft loads of things as well. So there's a lot of depth to it. There's lots of little things. I mean, I didn't even notice that the weapons have got like little upgrades until probably about 12 hours in. And I knew you could upgrade them and make them electrical or acidic or whatever. But then I noticed that you can actually increase the power of them and stuff as well. I hadn't even noticed that. I was hours in before I even bothered looking.
Yeah.
But you can craft things like firecrackers. And you'd think firecrackers, what's the fucking point of that? But they are awesome. They're an incredibly effective thing. And like you'll have zombies after you, and you just lob a firecracker, and they'll go running after it. But firecrackers become dangerous if you see like a petrol barrel. Like if you get a load of zombies, throw a firecracker down, they'll all come in towards it, and the petrol barrel just takes the lot of them out. And you're like, this is cool. The actual environment and everything, it's really well thought out. And I have to say, it's the first sort of zombie survival type game that I've actually got a kick out of in a long time.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of pretenders to the throne, and I think it's a really saturated genre. But honestly, like you said, Blade, it feels like the game that Dead Island wanted to be, but Dead Island felt quite repetitive after a time.
Yeah, it did.
And with this, I actually feel drawn into the point where I want to go and do this side mission. I want to go and do that. And you look at like the rewards, and you're like, oh, I haven't got that blueprint. I want to be able to make that weapon. And it's awesome. And there's loads of little Easter eggs as well. I don't know if you've seen all these online, like Excalibur.
I did see. I can't remember what it was referenced to, but I did see a news article about that there was an Easter egg about something in there. But
Destiny was one of them.
Destiny, that was the one, yeah.
The little Destiny cave, yeah. I've not done that one yet. And there is Excalibur that's on like a little island, and you have to go. And normally like you because I'm playing on control pad, because if I can play on pad, I love it. And you have to you go to Excalibur, and it's stuck through this guy into a rock, and it's called Excalibur. And you have to hold on for 2 minutes, literally, hold on with the Well, normally you pick stuff up in 5 seconds, and this is just holding it for 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay. And then eventually you yank it out, and if you wait a little bit longer, you get the blueprint for the sword as well.
All right.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's actually an app for it as well that's linked to it.
No, I haven't seen that. No.
Yeah, I downloaded it. Basically, it's. Can you remember the management system in Assassin's Creed? I think it was Brotherhood, where we sent out the assassins to do little side missions and stuff. They never seemed like there was much active point other than that you unlocked little bits, extra things to trade or whatever. It's like that, but you unlock stuff and then you can put it into a loot crate that you send into your game. So the next time you go to your quartermaster, you've got all the stuff that you've unlocked on the app. And I'm like, that's just... And it actually works. It's actually kind of fun too.
I quite like the quartermaster idea, now that you mentioned that. Every day, the quartermaster at your base, he gives you some free shit. So if you're not one of these who likes, pouring over all the dead bodies and scavenging absolutely everything, you can always get a bit of free stuff. I mean, it's not normally, a great deal, is it? But there's some decent stuff that you can get from him.
You get cool random side quests as well. The whole game, honestly, I massively recommend it. Even if it's not normally your cup of tea, I think if they patch the freezing issue, which is my only real problem with it, then I think it's phenomenal. Best thing for me since Far Cry 4 came out. And Far Cry 4 was amazing, but somehow it lacked a depth that I felt Far Cry 3 had.
Definitely.
Even though it had those...
You speak to most people and you'll speak to most people and they'll agree there's no point in really getting Far Cry 4 when you can get Far Cry 3 for a quarter of the price.
It's like £5 on Steam sale, you know, and it's that is an awesome game.
Far Cry 3 is still pretty new too, though, isn't it?
Not mega old. I mean, I think now it must be about
only a year,
3 years.
Year and a half.
No, so it's a lot older than you think, dude. They've had Blood Dragon out since then. You're looking at least 3 years, I think.
Yeah,
this isn't a series I follow, so.
Far Cry 2 is the only one that I've really put a lot of time into.
I played it, but I didn't like it.
I did, but then I didn't really play the game as it was meant to be played. I was just like GTA in it, if you know what I mean. Just
that's
driving around murdering as many people as I could.
That to be fair, is the only thing that feels missing is vehicles from Dying Light. And it's not like a massive thing because parkour is such an element, and you can get from one side of the map to the other in 10 minutes if
you can. And this is a point that I wanted to raise: is that if someone does get the game, bear with it, because the first couple of hours, I should say, I found it really slow. Before you unlock the advanced parkour, like the vaulting and stuff. It was really hard work getting around. It was, and that almost killed the game for me. I have to be honest, that almost stopped me playing it. But as soon as you unlock the advanced parkour, it's amazing. You're just running and jumping and vaulting over absolute. You never slow down. You're just pelting it around everywhere.
Feel borderline like a superhero. It's kind of cool. And there's a lot. There's a lot to be said. I mean, I'm genuinely stoked that it's come out. It feels like we've had a year of half-assed finished games that never quite lived up to the potential that they could have. And although this, with its faults, it's got a few faults, but it's still a great. It does,
but it's still a very playable game.
Very playable, yeah.
I mean, one of the issues that I've found that's slightly lazy dev-wise is the lip syncing in the cutscenes. Not even in the cutscenes, just when you're talking to NPCs, it's terrible. I mean, it's nothing. It's not going to affect the game at all. But it's like their mouth movements make no correlation with what's the words that are coming out of their mouth.
That is true. But then I suppose for international players, it's not going to make a lot of difference.
No, I suppose not.
But the other thing as well is the voice acting's really good. And again, that's something that if you don't notice it, it's because they've done a decent job. But like with what was that game that Bruiser was talking about the other week in his top 3, but it was kind of fucking awful. Activision, half-ass finished. Hacking
Any of
and
Activision's games.
Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs. The actors in that, I couldn't work myself up to give a fuck about them. The main character, maybe this was part of his character, but he sounded so disinterested that I, as a player, couldn't give a fuck either. And sort of in this one, you've got a good, you got the voice actors are great, but you've actually got good character progression as well. So you kind of feel involved.
It's in your own character progression I like. I found the NPCs to be very generic and bland, even though they are very well voice acted, like you say. But like you've got the leader who has doubts over his leadership and whatever. You're generic, I can't do this anymore, man. It's like, pull yourself together. And you've got the young lad who's like super enthusiastic. That Raheem was it, who just wants to get involved in everything. You've got the woman who's hard as fucking nails, but absolutely stunning and no muscle mass at all.
She's an ex-fighter though, wasn't she? Supposedly, you find out she's on posters. She's like some Olympic fighter or some
really?
shit.
I can't believe that for a second.
Yeah, not me either, but that's not the point. But no, I mean, I think the thing is, maybe we should do a podcast on this because it is its own thing. But like gaming cliches and like movie cliches, they're in there. There's no, you can't get away from that. It's kind of, you've still got the same old characters. I mean, you got a central character who I can't talk too much about it because of spoilers, etc. But he kind of, as the game progresses, his opinions change on certain things, and it's some of that's quite cliched in terms of you've seen it a million times in Hollywood, you've seen it in video games.
It's like the bad guy, typical bad guy. He'll kill any of his own men without a second's thought just because they didn't put enough milk in his coffee or something like that.
What's
what I mean?
This? I kill my own men.
Has 100 opportunities to just shoot you in the face. Never decides to take it.
No, you have to explain the beauty and brilliance behind your plan, because they're the only one who's going to actually care about your plan. The world news isn't going to be like, oh, that was a dastardly plan to melt the ice caps. They're going to be like, ice caps are melting. Maybe a supervillain? Who knows?
So by default, you're sort of saying that all these sort of supervillains they're only really sort of seeking acceptance. They just want someone to say, you know what?
Trying to kill them.
That's a fucking brilliant plan. You're a genius.
Supervillains are essentially superheroes that just couldn't care. They were just like, oh man, gotta fight crime at 3 a.m. No, I'm just gonna build a death laser.
Well, it's just your standard issue psychopaths. I mean, that's normally how it works. The world revolves around them, and they're normally quite a charming, charismatic sort of character. But they just don't give two fucking shits about anyone around them.
I think my therapist would agree with you. No, I'm kidding.
You're probably right, but yeah, I think there's a lot of it that's quite generic, but it's. I
mean, without spoiling too much, because obviously people are going to die in this game. It's a survival game, of course, but quite early on. So you get dropped into this city that's been locked down because of the outbreak, and you're like part of some agency that's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. That's basically the story. And you get attacked, don't you, right at the beginning? Like, they drop you in, you get attacked. You get saved by some dudes, and they take you back, like, take you in and whatever. Now, I'm not going to say who, but somebody dies quite early on, relatively early on. Now, you're only probably a couple of hours, probably even only 2 or 3 games, 2 or 3 days in the actual game into it. But when this dude dies, you're like, no, my God, man! It's like you hardly know this dude. I mean, why
I
do you
don't think
give a
I'm
shit?
there yet, so I can't judge on that.
Well, I wasn't.
I've
bothered.
gone full ham on side quests, and the main sort of quest line I've kind of avoided as like a little treat, because the side quests pay off really well, and that's another thing that always keeps me coming back. The side quests, you do genuinely get goods, upgrades and things out of it, and you want to do it because you get excited about all this stuff, and you kind of like, it is worthwhile. So I'm trying to sort of build up, and obviously at the same time you're building all your stats and you're getting better at doing all your kicking and shit.
I appreciate what you're saying there, but I think this is just a personal thing, is that I like to do the story, so I just crack on straight through it. So whether that's just me or not, that I've not found a need to do the side quests, I've found that, what I've done in the story is I've never been lacking firepower or anything like that. I've actually got a nice rifle at the minute. I don't know if you got that far yet.
Yeah, I've got a rifle, shotgun, pistol.
Okay, well, fuck you.
I'll just go looking for these things. There's loads of little side quests where they're some of the best ones. You get these little side quests. There's one guy that's a director.
I've seen him, but I haven't took it.
They're amazing. They're the best quests in the whole game. And I think once you've played them, it unlocks the firearms that's involved.
All right, okay.
And the first one's like a double barrel shotgun. You got to kill like 40 zombies in 2 minutes. Well, that's a fucking hoot. Like, I enjoyed the shit out of that. And then the second time, I think it was, I can't remember how many you got to kill, but you got an assault rifle. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. After hours and hours of like melee kills, I'm just like, yeah, give me the guns, man. And,
so Morel, there's one of the side quests. You come across this dude like on a balcony rooftop sort of thing, isn't he? And he's a film director who's chosen. Yeah, he's come to this lockdown city, to do some like research into zombie survival for his next feature film.
I'd say what was quite cool is another side quest. There's a dude in the tower where you're kind of your good guys are based, or the good guys so far. Maybe that'll change. Don't know. But like, there's one guy, he wanted me to go out and kill a load of Zeds with a baseball bat. So I went and did that, and it was one of these side quests. You got 2 minutes to kill X amount, and I did that, and I went back, and this is a few hours later in game, and so I go into the shop and I go to trade all my weapons and crap that I've been building up, stuff I don't need, and there's this group of guys over in the corner, like watching a TV. And they're talking. They're reviewing your fight, and they're talking about it. I'm like, that is a nice touch. And they were just like going on about what a kick-ass guy you were and all this shit. And I was just like, that's a really cool touch. It is classy.
It is. It's a solid game. It is a solid game, and it's worth the purchase, definitely.
You guys have convinced me this is going to be a game I immediately log into Steam, put on my wish list, and forget about.
Yeah,
I have like 75 games on my wish list that at the time I was so excited about, and I was like, I'm getting this. And going through, I'm like, the fuck's that game? What the hell is this about?
No, I've got a few in mind, but this is. I guess it comes down to what you enjoy. But this is everything. I knew I would like it unless it was fundamentally flawed, and to be honest, the flaws that it has got, I'm happy to overlook because everything else about it is so good.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, we was looking forward to this, and it was just a case of whether it wasn't broken. And there are parts, like we say, that are a bit. They've taken a few knocks, but it's definitely not broken by a long shot.
In all fairness, and I think opposite ends of the scale, the hype machine had been in overdrive for Dying Light and H1Z1 as you know, Q1 releases for 2015, and I was psyched, probably more psyched for H1Z1, I thought this is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I hated it, loathed it, fucking can't stand it. And so it kind of made me think, oh man, Dying Light is going to be a sack of shit too. But in all fairness, no, I'm absolutely loving it, and I've not even touched any kind of multiplayer, so I've still got that to look forward to.
It's not going to add a lot to it, mate. To be fair, I mean, I had quite a few connectivity issues to start off with as well. I mean, it took me probably 10 minutes to actually not find a game. Finding a game wasn't a problem; it was actually connecting to it. They seem to have it, but then those issues will probably get ruled out. It's quite fun. I played a couple of games as the actual zombie, but the humans seem ridiculously overpowered because they've all got the special zombies are all afraid of the UV light, right?
Yeah.
And obviously all 4 of them have got UV lights. So if they stick together, you swoop in to try and take one of them out. They sap all your energy. I think it is with their UV lights, and then you're just easy fucking pickings. UV light is one thing. I played with it in the early days and then just stashed it. Not used it since. I can't say I have either. But then I don't really go out at night that much.
I do. You get stacks more points.
I know you get more points, but it's pretty hectic. I'm not going to lie.
It is, but I like that. The thing is, you find yourself using the minimap more than the actual game because you can see the lines of sight from the Z. So I'll just weave. But the thing is, every time you jump, you're actually getting a stack of points towards your sort of parkour. So yeah. I would specifically go out only at night now because of the points. It's just so much better.
So essentially, a let's play of you would just be you bunny hopping everywhere at night.
Fuck yeah, it would.
It would be a pretty crap video though, because like I say, it's so pitch black. It is dark, they've got it perfect. I mean, we was talking before, and the difference between day and night. They was talking about it being a huge difference, and it is. It really is so much. You can just wander about at daytime, just wiping zombies out, can't you? I mean, it's not really much of an issue unless there's like a huge group of them. But at night, you have to be on your toes. You really have to be thinking, and you have to be quick, or else you're down.
No time to fuck about.
No.
The mission. It's a side mission actually, but there's one involving a power plant where you have to turn on this power plant, but you've got to do it at night. There was probably about 100 plus zombies within this outsidey area. And that was pretty fucking scary in its own way. It was awesome.
Another thing that we was talking about other games. I think you was mentioning it about DayZ on one of the other earlier episodes. That you couldn't get that many zombies on screen at once. You can get a ton in this game. I don't know what the official figures are, but yeah, I mean there are certain situations where you come across an absolute horde.
And I mean full on hordes like. It makes the hordes in Walking Dead look a bit weak. And
if they've got a couple of the spitters on there as well that like slow you down when they spit on you,
they're dickheads.
Yeah,
I hate them.
It's hard work. Very easy to kill though once you get to them.
But but it's just you don't
one
even
thing that I found about them is that when you get close to them, they'll try and move further away. The spitters, which is fucking annoying.
Yeah, but they are big fat fucks, so the advantage is on your side as a parkour person. Yeah, it's a great game.
It is a great game. So otherwise, in the news this week, we've got the Evolve Hunters Quest, the free-to-play mobile app that they've released. It's available on pretty much every platform: iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows, all that sort of thing.
Anyone tried it?
I haven't yet, no. But I know someone who has.
Oh my! I personally downloaded this the other night because I wanted to have intelligent discourse on this because I felt the last podcast I kind of sounded like a knob, and I am upset with you, Blade. Upset.
Because you're Canadian.
Yeah, that's probably got a big part of it.
Well, see, this game...
I'm not expecting much different this week, to be quite honest with you. But
listen here, you. Listen. No, I was quite excited about this. Last time on the podcast, I kind of touched on that I was giving casual games another chance, like the mobile, while you're otherwise away from your preferred gaming platform at work or whatever. Something to kill time while you're on break, or on the bus, or waiting for a bus. Whatever. This game has my biggest pet peeve with mobile games.
Ooh.
You need an active connection.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless. And all it is Candy Crush for men.
Yeah, it is.
This is how
Candy Crush.
it should be. Evolve. Candy Quest for men. I forgot you can't see over here. Evolve. Candy Quest for men. Because that's what it is. It's like you're matching up a bomb with bombs, and you shoot the bad guys. Which I thought was cool. It added a depth to the Candy Crush saga that my girlfriend's a huge Candy Crush player, so I know all the terms. She's been hounding me for weeks now to try it, and I was like, no, I'm not playing Candy Crush. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I'm playing Candy Crush.
I'm playing a men's version of Candy Crush.
Manly Candy
It
Crush.
kills
I'm gonna
things.
go chop some lumber and...
Yeah, so basically, you've got like a grid of different symbols or whatever, haven't you? And you've got to link three of them together?
3 or more, because it's kind of like
the
the random encounters in Final Fantasy, where it's like a random number of these... Are they mutants? I don't know. These weird alien things.
Just monsters, yeah.
Yeah, and you match up different tiles. There's only a handful of them at the beginning, and the more you match up, the more power your attack does. And if you get a good combo, you can just decimate a monster. And that part of it really felt well executed. I still don't know why I have to be connected to the internet or the mobile network to use it.
Well,
it doesn't seem like it's syncing anything important.
Well, I think it's mainly because it is actually linked to your... If you have evolved the game, it's linked to it. It boosts your progression in the actual game. So, if you're playing a dude like the assault dude with the electro gun or whatever, when you use it in game, when you use it in game, the more damage you do in a round or whatever, it gives you points to add up to your rank level of that weapon. It's kind of like a Call of Duty sort of thing,
But why can't it just store that? Why can't there just be a file that's called current score add.txt? That as soon as you get into a mobile network, it's sync. I still don't see how that needs to be real time updated.
Because I suppose if it's stored on your actual device, then there is a possibility of quite easily hacking it. And
well, I'm not saying it has to be a text file, but it just somewhere in the game.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. I mean, it does annoy me that a lot of things need to be slightly off topic here, but I used to have an app on my phone that told you in real time the status of the London Underground trains, which is all very well and good, but as soon as you step foot in the Underground, you lose all sort of connectivity at all. So, what fucking use is that to anybody, really?
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
That's something I think you could get basic info off of just from your phone. If there's a set schedule, it can check your phone time and be like, hey, it leaves at quarter to 5.
It's a bit more complicated. They have a lot of works going on and delays and stuff like that. It's just meant to keep you updated. But, yeah, I mean, really? There's no need.
I can suck a bag of dicks then.
Yeah, don't download that.
My biggest gripe with any sort of mobile game or Battler H1Z one is the pay to play. Candy Crush is the worst for that shit. Mm-hmm. They know people are going to get addicted, and people are dropping a ton of money on this shit. And it's to me, they're not even proper games. I mean, they're sort of a 20-year-old kind of game.
Because these are like arcade games. Yeah. When they were first being released, sort of level, aren't they?
But it's want to carry on playing? You're going to have to spend a ton of money in real terms just so you've got the energy to play.
This building's going to take 36 hours to complete. Do you want to spend £5 and do it now?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, see, and this is kind of one thing I wanted to touch on with this, is 2K's a huge company. They could have put a fair amount of effort and resources in this to make it a great game. Honestly, I lost my phone 6 hours ago, but if I find it, I'm probably going to uninstall the app. It was kind of fun at first, but the novelty wears off.
They could have even done like a top-down, very basic little shooting, a little like soldier fighting monster sort of game out of it. I would have thought, rather than your match-up free bloody. Yeah, it seemed like a very cheap way of doing a companion app.
I just feel that big companies, and you kind of mentioned the pay-to-win or pay-to-play, so I wanted to touch on this because it's relevant to my point. EA makes Simpsons Tapped Out. A great game that I've been addicted to for years. Huge Simpsons fan.
You see this? What?
Yeah. See this? Anyway. So, it comes down to you can spend money on donuts and speed up things, but they also give out the premium currency. Like crazy. Like in the last, I'd say 3 months, I've earned 93 donuts or something, and that's enough to buy like a lot of the cool premium characters that you're going to be spending your money on. And it was a well-executed app. The pay is in there, but you don't have to use the microtransactions. And I feel more games should step up to that. And coming from a big company like 2K, I was expecting a much higher quality game.
Well, these the Evolve app has actually got, of course, nowadays microtransactions involved in it that boosts your, because I think you can only standard wise you can only boost like, so your weapons in game, it's called a mastery, right? Okay, and then obviously you can get more efficient at it or whatever when you boost up your levels. I think the standard rate is 50%. A maximum of 50% mastery is all you can get from the mobile app itself. But of course you can pay some real money and get some extra boosts or faster boosts. I don't know whether it actually affects the total amount that you can upgrade or whether you can just get to that point quicker, which if it's just a fucking boop, match up app, then yeah, I can see a lot of people wanting to skip through that sort of grind.
See, I worked for Research in Motion for a while, makers of BlackBerry, and I had a playbook. And for Christmas one year, they were giving out a bunch of BlackBerry apps. And one of them was an FPS on the playbook. And it looked kind of like an old school, like late 90s shooter. But it was this huge, expansive Call of Duty style game on a tablet. And I just personally feel technology has come far enough that mobile gaming should step away from, the Angry Birds, the Flappy Bird, the Candy Crushes. I really, really, really wanted Dev to just put out a game on the phone.
I agree with you to an extent because, I mean, a lot of these very popular games I don't like just simply because they're too simple, I suppose, is the way. I'm used to playing quite complex games. But I appreciate that the average person that is using these is just looking to kill 5 minutes. So
it's casual gamers as well.
Yeah, they don't want to get too involved.
I know plenty of people who don't play video games, period, never have played video games, and yet they're addicted to Candy Crush on the phone or on the tablet. And, I guess the market's there, so...
Oh, yeah, and it's shown that, definitely. The millions that they make from that sort of thing.
And these people are willing to drop, quite a bit of cash just so they can carry on playing. And, I mean, we collectively between us have probably spent many years playing video games and a whole bunch of cash on it. So it's kind of, I think it's just horses for courses kind of thing.
It's just a different way of doing things, isn't it?
It's not my bag. I think it sucks, but that's.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, I live in rural Nova Scotia, which means the only bus that comes through my town runs every 2 hours.
Which state's that in?
It's the one that's right close to Maine. But so for me, like, I'll bring a book if I'm going somewhere, but I always have my phone. So the casual mobile apps are kind of like I forgot my book. Or I've been on the bus now for 3 hours, I kind of have a headache, let's do something that's not reading. So I just dream of a day where mobile apps hold the same credibility as other games.
When you can play WoW on your tablet without needing an internet connection.
For the record, I have the Armory app, Great app. It lets me check my character. I can chat with my guild while I'm at work.
That's amazing.
I can do my auctions, and I bought a nice headband. Need to get a couple more levels though. It was a little too high, but the price was right, so I'm just sitting on that for a day or two. Just saying.
Well, how do you kick people out of chat?
I knew I was going to take so much flack for getting back
Stern
into
but
WoW.
fair, man. Stern but fair.
Wow. That's all I can say.
My Warcraft guild runs on Thursdays.
Man!
I wish I had glasses.
So the other big news this week, Nintendo. Again, Nintendo, really? They are so fucking stuck in 1998. It's unreal.
Family console, everyone.
Where to start on this?
On spit it out.
Let's go back to 2013, shall we? When Nintendo decided that they was going to copyright strike every monetized Nintendo gaming video that they could find on YouTube. I mean, this led to the closure of some channels. It was that bad. And they've now come out with the Nintendo Creators Platform, they're calling it, which basically means that you can make videos of Nintendo games. Only ones that have been whitelisted, by the way. You don't have complete freedom of which games to play. Only the ones that they choose you can play. And you get 60% of the money that you earn. Unless you run a completely dedicated channel to Nintendo, and then they'll give you a whopping 70.
They spoil people.
Yeah. Now, I agree with the argument that it is fully their right to be able to do this. You are, at the end of the day, using their game to make profit for yourself. But they need to look at the current market and how things work nowadays more than anything. Like I say, it's so stuck. 10 years ago, this would probably have been a viable option, but not anymore. I mean, what's going to happen now is that big YouTubers aren't going to want to give 40% of their income away just to play a Nintendo game. They'll just play something else. And the smaller dudes, they're not going to play Nintendo games because, again, why would they want to give 40% of their money away to Nintendo when they could be playing something else and keeping all of the little amount of money that they do get from YouTube?
One thing I want to throw out there in regards to this, and I probably should have done better homework, but Rev, you have a YouTube channel, do you? Or is it just you play on the Alta server?
Yeah, not really. I certainly don't make the effort I should, in all fairness.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that boat. I'm more of a casual YouTuber, like once a month now, because I'm lazy. But, so, I guess from your perspective, the monetized video thing, does that really affect you at all? Like,
not me, not even slightly.
You know, I feel like while that would be groundbreaking for some circles, I don't think it'd be a deal breaker for the average person.
No, but the average person isn't making their living from YouTube. I mean, this is the thing. The people that are currently making their money from YouTube, or people who are looking to do that seriously, they're just not going to play Nintendo games, which is what they weren't doing in the first place.
I think we're missing a vital key argument here. Which is really, I don't know the last Nintendo game that I would actively sit and watch on either Twitch or YouTube, or I'd actually give a fuck about.
That was my point. I've never seen a Nintendo release, and this is the issue I had with the Wii, that I've been like, this is going to be the best game ever, I want to share it. It's always been like, hey, we're all drunk at my house, let's play Super Smash Bros.
The latest Pokemons are hugely watched on Twitch or whatever, because when Nintendo can't touch them there. Oh yeah, people love to play them. So people, these guys can't go on YouTube and do a let's play or a tutorial or something about Pokemon. But
what kind of tutorial would you do about Pokemon?
Well, just like a walkthrough or whatever. Because to be fair, that would bring in a lot of fucking views. It would, but they can't do it because. Well, no, you wouldn't. But there's tons of people out there that would. And they can't. Well, they couldn't do it before because Nintendo was just copyright striking everyone. And now, if they want to do it, they've got to give nearly half of that money to Nintendo themselves.
But one thing to look at is Nintendo's market isn't us. Sure, we enjoy the nostalgia factor, and sure, they're cashing in on it. But look at the games that are coming out. You know, like the Wii Fit. That wasn't for us.
Well, like Super Smash Brothers, right? Hugely popular game, right? But as far as I know, and I might be incorrect on this, that's not even been put on the whitelist. You know, so this new Super Smash Bros. Game that is really good if you're into that sort of thing, and people aren't even going to be able to do that now. They just don't seem to know what they're doing. They're just not in touch, I think, is the real issue. And the other big part about it as well is that if you want to put a video up on YouTube, it can take... Nintendo have to review it first and okay it to say that it's fine to put out, which is ridiculous. So basically, if you put out a video that is any way negatory about... Well, I'm guessing anyway, this is what's going to happen, or else why have the review process? Then they're just going to turn around and say, well, no, we're not putting that up. And it's where do you stop with this? I mean, is it going to affect reviews, like video reviews?
Well, funnily enough, my real life job is in online marketing. Mm-hmm. Not long ago, I did a blog about something that vaguely sort of touches on this, and that's that now developers. A lot of gamers, we don't necessarily buy into the hype because we're all used to being sold at and we're all used to seeing these adverts. But for me, now I will buy a game based on the back of watching someone's videos or watching it on a Twitch stream.
And this is what they don't get.
I wasn't sure whether I was going to bother with it because I do not believe the hype. But when I can actually watch someone playing that game, that makes me want to buy it. If you've got someone like PSI Syndicate, I'll watch his streams when he's trying something out, and he does some great first impressions, he calls it. Yeah. And like half of these armor mods, man, he's the guy that got me into them. So for Nintendo really to be that anal about, we want 30-40% of any income you make from showcasing our videos and putting it out there, regardless of the fact that person, if you've got 100,000 views on a video and just a fraction of those people go out and actually buy that video game,
you've made tons more than you would have got from that share of the video anyway.
And this is the thing, and I don't really understand their mentality on that. I think as a business model, it fucking sucks.
Oh, it does. They seem to be under the impression that people who are watching people play games on the internet are not going to go out and buy those games, which is complete horseshit. Because if you're watching someone play a game and it looks good and these people are enjoying themselves, then that's good. That's like you say. If you was in any doubt, like say with Dying Light, over whether it was worth buying or not, you watched a couple of streams or a couple of videos on YouTube of people playing it and they was loving it, then that's just going to solidify that in your head that I need to get this.
The only game that would ever drag me back to Nintendo ever would be a Zelda. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason I would even consider playing Nintendo.
One thing I do kind of want to throw out here before we diverge too far from the topic for this to be relevant, how long has YouTuber been a viable profession?
Well, it depends entirely on what sort of level you are.
Yeah.
But no, I mean on a scale of like the last 100 years, last 200 years. Let's not forget that Nintendo was founded in like 1865. They originally made playing cards.
Well, they did, yeah. But
just in the
changed a little bit since then.
Yeah, but look
they're
at
still
it.
stuck
In the expanse of the company's history, how long has playing your game to make money been a viable profession? They saw something scary and they saw something new and they were like, oh, we need to cash in on this.
But this is basically just Nintendo that has this paranoia, and the problem is that they've got all the old dudes who have been running this company for decades. They're still there, and they're the ones who are still making the decisions. They need to have a change in their hierarchy and get some younger guys coming up who understand how the world actually works nowadays.
I'm not arguing that, though, but just, like, looking at it, there's companies that made millions and then lost it in the course of a year and a half.
Some of the things that Nintendo do are absolutely fantastic, and we praised them either last week or the week before, whenever it was, that they don't make broken games. They make absolutely fantastic games. Only this past couple of days, they've released a load of new maps for Super Smash Bros. That are completely free, and that's the sort of thing nowadays that it has to be commended, because there's so many developers will just cash in on that sort of thing just to make an extra buck. But Nintendo don't. But in other aspects like this, they're just in the Stone Age, and it's...
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we're looking at a big company that opened their eyes one day and were like, oh man, people can play our games, make money off it, and then badmouth us. What I'm seeing with the whole whitelist debate is that they saw something and it spooked them, and it's just like any other big company that gets wind of something that scares them.
But it's not just them, though. It's not just
reaction.
Nintendo that suffer from bad publicity. I mean, right, Angry Joe did a video review of Road to Redemption, I think it was Road to Hell, something like that. It was like a biker game, but it was absolutely terrible. He published it as his worst game ever. Now, he couldn't have been more negative about that game if he'd tried. But I can guarantee you that video still got the publisher a shit ton of sales from people watching that video and going, I want to see just how bad this is myself.
See, and here's the thing. I'm not defending Nintendo. I don't want people to go away and be like, oh, he's a real Nintendo fanboy. I'm just saying, I work in a lot of corporate settings. I've had dealings with a lot of big companies, and I can see the knee-jerk reaction as understandable. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just saying it doesn't surprise me that some large gaming company reacted like that.
And we'll see. We'll see how well it works for them. I mean, I can't see it going particularly well. Also, one of the clauses in that you have to sign up for is that they can change the rates to whatever they want whenever they feel like it.
Which is nice.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But then, arguably, I mean, Nintendo effectively couldn't keep up with the technology. Let's be honest. I mean, by the time we got to Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Nintendo was still pushing out Wii, which is basically, it's got an interesting control system set up, but graphically and
it's a SNES with
power-wise,
a fancy controller.
It was shit. So their whole, I think they try and be quirky and different, and they're targeting a whole different market. We're hardcore gamers, so we're not really their target audience. I don't think. I think it's aimed at families and casual gamers.
They've always aimed towards younger people, and certainly families with some of the Wii stuff that they released, definitely. But
I just think we're the first generation that grew up with Nintendo as a game system. So we seem to think that they'll continue to compete for our attention.
I just don't understand their decisions.
I think maybe we grew up, but they didn't, in terms of their target audience, their sort of their philosophy on how they want to do things. It will be interesting to see how that plays out, though, because I mean, if you're, for me personally, most games I buy now, I will actually research, and by research I mean I will watch people playing it live, I will watch video tutorials on it, I'll watch reviews of it, and then I'll decide whether to drop the cash, because fuck me, I don't want another H1Z1. And it's like, if you're willing to drop money on something, I'm happy to do that. I will always support a developer if they put out something that's good. But for Nintendo to do that, if they were proud of their products and they knew that they'd put out an absolutely smashing game that that it's brilliant, why wouldn't they want to showcase it?
But this is the issue as well with this free business day as well. So if you upload it on a Friday night, it could be the end of next week before it's actually released. The other point about it is that, well, just the fact that we've mentioned before is Nintendo make good games. They probably make the way they're actually made. They are you don't get glitches and bugs and frame drops and whatever in Nintendo games. You just don't. They make
but that's also because
quality.
They keep taking the same games and just re-releasing them. If there was a brand new Nintendo big announcement that this was going to be something completely new nobody's ever seen, I'd probably be genuinely excited about it. But anytime you hear a new Nintendo game, it's like Mario's Super Fun Luigi Party, or Zelda The Waker of Stones. It's like, sure, it's going to be different, and it could add some fun things, but I've also been playing Zelda for 30 years.
But it doesn't change the fact that these games are top quality when they're, when you can pick them off the shelf. You don't need patches for Nintendo. You don't need day one patches for Nintendo games. So why do they even need, that just shows how much confidence they've got. Why do you need to put that review clause in? Because I can't think many people are actually going to badmouth Nintendo over the games that they make.
Well, we just did, all three of us. But then we're not the target audience. And obviously, in part, that's because we don't agree with this policy.
About the game itself. I mean, we might not want to play fucking Yoshi's House Dinner Tea Party 4, but, we're just not going to play it. We're not going to make a video slagging it off just because it exists. Is my point, but the people who are going to do videos about it are going to be the ones that do like it, because they've got nothing to fucking whinge about.
Well, I won't be buying.
Again, I think it boils down to big companies don't understand the internet. Period. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but I really wanted to make that point.
I would disagree with that. I think most big companies are fully aware of the power of the internet. I wonder if maybe it's a weird thing with Nintendo where they want to maintain some sort of exclusivity, like Apple. Like every other phone company out there, I use the same fucking charger for my phone, my vape, my tablet, everything, and yet like Apple want to charge you 40 quid so you can charge your phone because your dog chewed your original charger.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Can't be bothered with that. And again, I want to be able to put my memory card for my old phone into my new phone, and that is my shit backed up. But Apple, no, you've got to have iTunes, which has got to be your music client as well, and it's got to all be purchases via iTunes, which you can get around, obviously. But it's that kind of marketing that Nintendo are kind of aiming for, where it's like, we don't want people playing our games without our permission. We want to keep a tight control. And I think they're the sort of company that they would have sanctioned players where they would probably sponsor them to do it themselves. So maybe it's a case of they want to protect their own image and project exclusivity. But I do personally massively fucking disagree with it, because as far as I'm concerned, as a hardcore gamer, I've got no interest in how they're doing business with small YouTubers who are trying to make a name for themselves. I actually know a guy, Gonzo KOS, I believe his name is. Real nice chap. Friends on Twitter. Always does follower Fridays, all this kind of stuff. And I know for a fact that guy, he does 90% of his videos are Nintendo based. And I don't believe he's monetized. But if his channel massively takes off, then what chance does that guy stand? Because they're going to say, now we want 40%, or maybe if we're feeling good, maybe just 30. And this guy's been doing it for the last couple of years, and like, how fair is that on him? All the effort he's put in.
Exactly.
Fuck you, Nintendo.
And that's the other point, is how much effort it goes into producing videos. I mean, I didn't realise before I started doing this sort of thing that it's editing is a pretty big chore.
It is.
It's not easy, and you need to get paid for doing that work, especially if you're doing it to pay your bills. It's as simple as that. And like I say, those people that are producing videos to pay their bills are not going to play Nintendo games if they're going to have to give them 40%.
Why should they?
Simple as that. Simple as that.
But so we're all a little bit disgusted with you, Nintendo.
Very much. The only other
keep putting out
publisher,
Pokemon games. If anyone from Nintendo's watching. Just that's the one Nintendo game I'm behind.
The only other publisher that I've seen that's a major one anywhere that's reacted anywhere to this sort of level is Sega, who, when they was releasing a new game, was copyright striking pretty much everyone else's videos, so that theirs were the only ones left, so that they got all of the ad revenue from YouTube.
But again, we're looking at another big company that's been doing it since home gaming really became accessible. you don't see things like Microsoft doing that. You know, you
But
can
no, I
argue
mean, you've got
because-
other people like EA who've won like worst company in America numerous times, but they are absolutely on board with this sort of thing, and you know, they'll actively encourage people to stream and make videos about their products.
It's free marketing for them.
It is.
And I mean,
And
that's bottom line.
And with the popularity that YouTube has nowadays, it is priceless to have that sort of thing.
If you saw the sort of budget some of these companies have for marketing, like online marketing is the only form of marketing that you can actually physically track. You know, it's the only one that you've got an actual trail where people came in from, what they looked at, especially with sort of things like AdWords. Not so much with Google Analytics. It doesn't tell you the keywords and stuff now. But with AdWords and things, it actually will break it down so they know the keywords that people search for that sent the traffic. Mm-hmm. Now, they spend fucking millions. And I mean, at the side probably of what they spend on developing the game, the advertising is a killer. And so to have free advertising and the buzz that's created, I mean, we hated H1Z1. But you look on Twitch now, and it's still in the top 10 consistently.
It was still on the recommended list when I was trying to set my Twitch up 3 hours ago.
There's a bunch of real popular streamers that are still playing the shit out of that game, and you know, I look at it and I think it sucks. But the fact they're playing it makes me think, did I miss something? Maybe
you haven't.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think I have. But you know, it does make you question that.
It is. It's ridiculous. I was on Twitch last night, and yeah, it was the third most watched, other than your obvious like League of Legends and Dota and whatever. It was, and there was tens of thousands of people watching them play this game, and I just don't understand why there's no content.
I feel like that about Counter-Strike. You know, I've tried to like it, but it's like the ginger stepson. I just can't take to it.
Now, I love Counter-Strike to play. It's one of those games that I wouldn't watch people play.
CS:GO, man. Like I just don't get the fascination. I understand you can get a £240 knife and you can sell that for Steam cash, and but the people that collect this shit, I'm just like, fuck, man. Like if I got me a knife, and that would be the one thing. I guess it's like gambling. It's like the only reason I would go back, because personally I thought the game sucks. I didn't enjoy it. And I've played a bit now, but not enough. And maybe it's because I suck, is the truth. But you know, if you know for a fact that if you had one lucky score, you score a £90 knife.
Yeah,
you'll want to play that more, so you can basically pay for the rest of your other games. But I'm not willing to put the sort of time in to maybe get weapons I can sell.
Okay, and then this week's top threes, we're going for storylines in games. Our favourite storylines of games past and present. So, Reverend, you want to hit us first?
Man, this initially is one of those things where trying to think up 3 games that have got the best storylines is tough, and then you start thinking, oh my god,
ton.
Yeah, there is a stack. So I'm gonna have to say, and I know Morel's not a fan, but Ezio. Assassin's Creed, his storyline, Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. Mm-hmm. Ezio is one of my favourite characters of all time, and I just it's actually incredibly deep, incredibly clever, sort of conspiracy theory laden storyline. I think's freaking awesome. That's my number 3. Yeah, number 2, the first Halo. Got to say it. I thought it was awesome. The first one. It was unlike anything else I'd ever played, and for that reason I thought it was incredible. Number 1, I've got to go, and I have harped on about this before because I could all day, but Red Dead Redemption, man.
Yeah.
That game, it's one of the few games, and I believe it takes a man to admit this. I actually cried genuinely. It actually rendered me to tears.
Wow.
I won't say why, because if anyone's not played it.
Really?
And I didn't think that would be possible. Yeah, and I'm like a 15 stone, 6 foot one.
I'm more shocked
bearded guy.
That you cried, or that you think that people haven't played Red Dead Redemption?
Red Dead Redemption?
Never know. You don't know. There you go, asshole. I'm just gonna. Can I just rumble off like some other games that honourable mentions? Can I do that?
Go for it.
Like, because I was really struggling. Vice City, fuck me, loved that story.
Uh-huh.
Deus Ex, I know you guys I don't think have played that, but the first one, incredible storyline. Uncharted from the PlayStation. Don't know if you got involved with that.
Yeah, it did. Good game.
And some of the Tomb Raider series all got a bit silly in the middle. I feel the last one was excellent, and the first two were awesome as well. But yeah, I think you guys should crack on.
Yeah, that's cool. Morel?
This, for me, was exceedingly difficult. I've been struggling with this for days. Partly because the games I play don't have storylines. A lot of them are like Prison Architect or Dwarf Fortress, where the story builds itself. So this one was tricky. So I'm probably going to go 3, 2, 1 before I forget my third one again. Guild 2. It's just this beautiful, it's like a simulator of living in oldie times. And it's so well done, and the story, you can do anything in it, and it just weaves the story out in front of you. It's like Romeo and Juliet meets The Sims. It's great.
Sounds just up your alley.
Yes, I'm a big thespian. Moving on. Then I'd have to say, and I know I'm going to get flack for this, World of Warcraft. But I'm gonna defend this. You have to look at it big picture. This is a theme you're going to notice. World of Warcraft, it paints the story out so vividly that, similar to other MMOs, there's lore masters and people who can tell you why this faction's fighting that.
I do appreciate that to an extent.
And that's kind of the thing. I think a lot of people look at World of Warcraft and you hear about the grinding and you hear about this, that, and the other thing. But there's also always like a page of text that accompanies every quest. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're grinding, you're killing 20 kill boars, but it's because they're ravaging the farm. And you're at that farm because that farm is housing your army. So there's this military base set up there, and you're helping the army, but you also kind of do the side quest to help the farmers because you're on their land. And it's kind of like, that's one thing I really like. But my next one, and this kind of feels like cheating, but we have to look at big picture. Saints Row and Red Faction.
Oh,
and
that froze for me, sorry.
Red Faction, I believe you said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Red Faction. I think they just put another one out, and Saints Row.
Which Saints Row are you talking in?
All of them.
Okay.
Oh, do you know first two?
Do you know what? I loved the point in Saints Row 4 at the beginning where that huge nuke launches and you're climbing up it to the song from Armageddon.
It's just amazing.
Yeah,
that's a series that it tried to be Grand Theft Auto, failed, and then just got sillier and sillier and better.
This is the beauty of the story. Red Faction, you're fighting Altor. In number 1, it's the mining company that you work for. You've been set there as first wave colonists. The second, you're like this rebel and you're fighting back, and it's all about this oppression of Altor on Mars. Altor is also one of the main villains in Saints Row. So now we have to accept they're both in the same universe.
Okay,
and in theory, same timeline. So what you see is Saints Row, you're just this little street gang, and you're getting into it, and you're fighting against Altor, this big company in the town you live in. And then you say they get shittier and shittier, but look at it. Saints Row 2, you're coming back.
No. We weren't saying that they got shittier, just that the concept just went out the window.
No, but it doesn't. Because follow it logically. Saints Row 2, you're in the coma for whatever reason.
You're climbing aboard a huge nuke.
Okay, it may
with
get a
Aerosmith
little insane
blasting
near
in the background.
end. But the way you look at it is Saints Row 3, you're a brand now. Right. You're not a gang, you're not a group of friends. It's the brand. Because you see it in the mini games that it's like the Saints Row brand. People are wearing Saints Row clothes. Because it's kind of like G-Unit. You could buy the G-Unit clothes and all the rapper endorsed clothes. And then they took it a step further. And then it's like, oh, well, they're public figures. They're running for government now. And yeah, it gets wacky. And if you're like me, you have cheat codes on, so, you had a superpowered jet since the beginning. But if you follow the story of the two of them, it's this gang that becomes a brand that goes crazy with power and money versus this company. And then we have Red Faction coming in that this company's still super powerful. And you're now fighting the oppression they have on a whole alien planet. And I find it blends the two very nicely. Yeah, it's a little wacky.
Yeah, I can see where
but
you're coming from.
think the story's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And it had Neil Patrick Harris in it. So that was pretty cool, too.
Any honourable mentions?
As far as my honorable mentions go, I think I have to touch on Dwarf Fortress again, just because I touched on Guild 2. Dwarf Fortress has a really nice storyline, but you build it as you go. Just because that's how the developers wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. They developed the game for themselves. They didn't care if other people played it, so they wanted a game that the story was different every time you played it, but always as in-depth. And I guess the other one I'd have to touch on would be EVE again, EVE Online, because the lore there is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I agree
it's
with
similar. You. It's not quite the same scale as World of Warcraft, which is why WoW beat this out. But you see, like, for any EVE Online players, there's the EVE Gate, which is supposedly the first jump gate that was ever used to reach this system, and the only gateway home to Earth or Jovian space, as they call it. And there's all the factions are fighting, and there's a history of wars and alliances. And again, if you get into it like a 16-hour-a-day person like I was for a while, you pick that stuff up.
And it does drag you in pretty easily.
Yeah, you see people like, on any forum, you see like, oh, Alliance versus Horde. When you get in EVE, it's all like, I'm a Minmatar and you're a Mar. We hate you because you turned us into slaves.
EVE is probably one of the only games in the world where there are more people that are interested in reading about what's happening than there is active players.
I've never played. I've got no concept of this game. Never played it.
It's phenomenal. It really
sounds like
is,
it's encouraging casual racism, though.
Well, no, chat does that all on its own.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of racism and
EVE is essentially just a sandbox.
Pornography being shared.
Yeah, and they completely let you go at it. They're like, do whatever you want. If you get scammed, the GMs will just be like, oh, you shouldn't have been so stupid.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
If someone
in that
steals
sense.
all the stuff in your corp, which is essentially your guild or your clan, you can mail the devs and they'll be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have trusted them with all your stuff.
To the extent that the devs actually made some of them are in a band, aren't they? And they made a music video called HTFU, Harden the Fuck Up.
Nice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just because, anything goes, basically. If you fall for a fucking scam, in other games, the scammer would get banned. They're actively encouraged in this game.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're stupid enough to fall for that, then, shit on you.
You'll go to a trade hub, and you'll be looking at chat, and it'll look like every email spam message you've ever got.
Yeah.
And it creates such a vibrant life. Like, it's one of those games that really, truly lets you separate yourself from reality.
Yeah, it's an MMO where being an absolute arsehole is a legitimate career choice.
Sounds like me on a French Epoch server.
It does, doesn't it? But you wouldn't have got banned. People have been applauding you.
Oh, God, I could be a hero if I just
Exactly.
downloaded Eve.
There's actually a blog, and I wish I remembered it off the top of my head. I'm on it. In passing, this was years ago, but it's just this guy that trolls on EVE, and he takes the chat logs and puts them up on this blog.
Minerbumping.com it's called, if you're on about the New Order.
What was his name? Socrates.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, the dude who has
Greek
way too much
philosopher.
money and is constantly getting ganked in like super expensive ships.
Yeah.
There's a guy who trolls him, just him in the local area. And it's all this blog. It's hilarious, and I can't remember the name for the life of me.
Anyway, we could talk about Evil Knight,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to end that there. My top three, mentioned in my favourite games last week. Number 3, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Absolutely amazing. Brilliant game. Number 2, I went for... Well, this is where the lines get confused slightly, but I'm going to keep it pretty simple and go for Half-Life, I think.
Ooh,
just because that game was revolutionary. Not only in the game itself, but the story that it told. It was brilliant. And my number one storyline ever is Vice City, GTA Vice City. I spent forever playing that game. My friend, where he lived, they had a caravan, his parents did. And pretty much 5 nights a week, we would just end up in that caravan getting drunk and playing Vice City. It was fantastic.
Did you do the 100% on it?
I don't think I ever got 100.
Dude,
but,
this for me, like, 'cause genuinely one of the best games of all time. If you got 100% on that game, so you collected everything there was to collect, every jump, every package, did everything, you got a T-shirt, and it said, "I completed GTA Vice City, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt." Genuinely, that was your prize, and for that reason and that reason alone, that game is incredible. But it's totally agree. Why don't they revamp it?
I know they should do. I mean, that was one of the best games I think I've ever played. It really was.
100%.
As far as honourable mentions, Eve that we just talked about, definitely.
Let's
Red
talk
Dead
about that
Redemption, which let's not. Red Dead Redemption. I'm
welling up here. I'm welling up as you're mentioning it.
Fantastic. LA Noire gets a mention in my eyes as well. The game itself wasn't amazing. They tried a lot of new things with it, like when you're interrogating people, like the facial things that they did.
The tells.
But as far as the actual story, it's brilliant. Great story. But yeah, that's me about done on that.
I thought of some other ones actually. Just very, very quickly. BioShock, the first one. That was incredible. And one of the best, I felt, one of the best sort of entrances into any game ever. That was absolutely incredible. And the ending was incredible. There's multiple endings, actually. The Last of Us, I don't know if you guys have played that, because obviously it's a recent PlayStation.
Yeah, I never got around to that.
Amazing, dude. Genuinely amazing. And the other one, because we'll get our asses kicked by the console gamers, the Mass Effect, dude. I didn't, now I'll be honest, I didn't play that much, but one of my friends, that's his favourite series of all time. And like as you progress, if you lose one of your comrades, and I think there's like 8 playable characters who are all like main characters, if they die early on, they're gone. That's it. They're done for the rest of the story. And you can also you can even have your character as a gay character or a straight character, and it carries on all the way through. And even to the point where I remember, apparently, there's like a picture of the person that you're dating. So you can have Jack. Is it Shepard or something? The main guy. Yeah. Like in one of the games, like if you're a gay guy, you got a picture of a guy next to your bed, or you got a picture of a girl if you're a straight guy. I was like, that's just fucking clever, man.
Yeah,
you know?
That's good. That is good. Very good. Okay, and just before we go, do you guys want to run through your Twitters and Twitches and whatever? Rev, do you want to start us off?
It's the Reverend BJ, all one word on everything.
Beautiful. That's pretty simple and self-explanatory. Morel?
Oh man, now I feel bad because mine is like a password. They're all very close, but all.
Don't tell me password.
My password is password1. No, I'm kidding. Over on Twitch, it is GW Murel. Hit me up on Twitter at Gaming with Murel, all spelled out. And on YouTube, I believe it's Gaming W/Murel. I probably should have.
It is. It is. If you search for that, then yeah, that's what comes up. But I don't think you actually have a custom URL yet, which is something that you really need to.
Well,
work
I have
on.
I have a tiny URL, tinyurl.com/GWMurel.
Well, that'll work. That'll do.
I didn't want to go through like the whole tiny URL thing because I thought that was weird. But okay.
I'm Blade Gaming on YouTube and Twitter. On Twitch, it's Blade666. That's all with a Y, by the way, for those of you who can't spell properly. And just before we leave, just a reminder, big shout out to the Fun Pimps, because they are awesome dudes. With our 7 Days to Die February giveaway, so sign up for that mailing list at redhotgamers.co.uk. You can check out the video of this, which you probably are doing on YouTube, or on redhotgamers.co.uk. You can get also the audio versions on the website and on iTunes, which is beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, we're on iTunes?
We are on iTunes now, yes, it's fantastic.
Man, you're all up on your project website, aren't you?
Indeed. Thank you for joining me, gentlemen, and until next time, we shall see you later.
Doodle Pipski.
You're listening to the Red Hot Gamers Podcast at www.redhotgamers.co.uk.